everybody, so new review for you guys today, which of the upcoming comic book film Bloodshot. I'm not completely familiar with the character from the Valiant comics, but it seemed intriguing enough to actually at least check out. It seemed like almost like a mixture of the films RoboCop and Upgrade, which in concept sounds really fascinating, but I'm kind of skeptical about anything that has Jeff Wadlow's name attached to it. He's one of the co-writers of the film, and he's brought us stuff like Blumhouse's Truth or Dare, and just recently Blumhouse's Fantasy Island. So Bloodshot's about Ray Garrison, an elite soldier killed in battle, but is brought back to life by an advanced technology, giving him powers like superhuman strength and healing. But with his new abilities, he goes after the man who killed his wife, or at least who he thinks killed his wife, soon coming to learn that not everything he learns can be trusted. Sadly, pretty much nothing in the film worked for me. There actually were some kind of cool moments in the action scenes that we do get. Some of the ones that you actually see in the trailer. Some of the actual effects of his regeneration sometimes look pretty cool, but none of the action scenes really stuck out to me. None of them were really overly spectacular or memorable. Part of it could have possibly be due to the fact that the CGI as a whole is a bit rough in many spots throughout the film, especially in these scenes involving Sam Heughan's character. There's one scene in particular, the big fight scene, where the CGI is just really bad for like a mainstream studio to put out on the big screen. Not only that, but the film has an overall reliance on slow-mo scenes in general. It's one of those things where you can forgive, one or two scenes, it's fine, but there's way too many in this, and they're not really well executed either. Like, think of like a Zack Snyder film and the way he uses slow-mo in a lot of his features, and it's just done in a much poorer way. I mean, this is like a first-time director, like, for a feature film, so I guess I can give him some slack for that, but it's just too much for me. Too much slow-mo. I like Vin Diesel as an actor. I think certain roles work very well for him, but I don't really think that's the case for this Bloodshot role. He's the main character, and he's kind of really given not much to work with. He's very not likable, actually. There's nothing really about him that really grips you, makes you want to see him get revenge on it for his dead wife, and it's really a shame, because almost every character in this film actually is very one-dimensional. Because you have all these talented actors, I mean, Isa Gonzalez and Sam Heughan in these supporting roles, and you give them literally nothing to do that's interesting, and also you have an antagonist like Guy Pearce as well, who's shown in many other films he's quite talented, and he's just such a very dull, generic villain. A lot of the stuff in this film is actually very generic, stuff that you've seen before done hundreds of times in other films. Obviously, I'm not too familiar with the source material, but if the source material is close to the script in this, they really could have tweaked it a little bit to make it just so less stereotypical revenge thriller, because the movie is playing out in such a very predictable way. If you've seen like one or two revenge films, you kind of just can predict what's going to happen beat by beat with this story. The dialogue as well is really cringy, if I'm being honest. I mean, Jeff Wadlow has shown in many of his films that he's not very good at writing dialogue, and this shows once again in this. It's not as bad as, I would say, like Truth or Dare or Fantasy Island, but you can definitely tell that his stamp is on this movie with his bad dialogue choices. I think Vin Diesel probably gets a lot of the worst lines in the movie, which is a horrible thing because he's the main character. But yeah, overall, unfortunately, I really can't recommend this movie. It kind of just didn't deliver on any facet whatsoever. I really don't see this spinning off into a bigger shared universe that Valiant apparently was trying to do at one point. And I also don't see this getting a sequel. I don't really see a Bloodshot 2 in the future. I think you should just skip this movie altogether this weekend. There are obviously much better films to see out there. I'm just curious why this was even made into a film, honestly. Especially with Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel's doing really well with those Fast and the Furious movies. I really just don't see him doing more Bloodshot, if I'm being honest. It's a very forgettable movie. I'm not sure yet if I would say it's one of the worst of the year by any means. It is only March, but it is something I probably won't remember too much of given like another week or two. It's just not one of those movies that I'm going to put to memory. But those are just my thoughts on Bloodshot. If you've seen the film, make sure you leave a comment section down below. What did you think of the film when you check it out? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think that we're going to get more of these Valiant movies in the future? Do you want a Bloodshot 2? Either way, make sure you leave a comment. Let's get a discussion going in the comments. Unite to all things movies here. But thank you as always for checking out my reviews. If you liked it, make sure you leave a like. Hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with my reviews, channel reactions, unboxings, and more. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.